Welcome to State, where we explore America's strangest legends, haunted locations, cryptids, and unsolved mysteries. Arizona is known for its endless desert highways, red rock canyons, abandoned mining towns, and miles of wilderness where someone could disappear without leaving a trace. But beyond the scenery lies a state filled with lost treasure, ghostly performers, mysterious energy, unidentified creatures, and one of the most famous mass UFO sightings in all of American history. Hidden somewhere within them, according to legend, is the incredibly rich deposit of gold known as the Lost Dutchman's Mine. The story is most closely associated with Jacob Watts, a German immigrant whose nationality was commonly mistaken for Dutch. Watts allegedly discovered the mine somewhere during the 19th century and removed gold from it while keeping its location a secret. When Waltz died in 1891, whatever he knew supposedly died with him. More sinister versions of this legend claim that the treasure is cursed or guarded by something that does not want to be found. No verified Lost Dutchman's mine has ever been discovered, but there are non-stop people searching. More than a century after Walt's death, the possibility of hidden gold continues drawing adventurers into the superstitions. Then you have the Jerome Hotel. Built into the side of Cleopatra Hill, Jerome was once a booming copper mining town, filled with miners, gamblers, saloons, and violence. Standing above the town is Jerome Grand Hotel, a building that originally opened in 1927 as the United Verde Hospital. The hospital treated injured miners, residents suffering from serious illnesses, and patients who could not always be saved. After the hospital closed, the building remained vacant for decades before reopening as a hotel. Guests and employees now report hearing coughing, labored breathing, footsteps, and voices inside apparent empty rooms. Others claim to have seen figures resembling nurses, patients, or doctors moving through the hallways. One particularly persistent story involves a former hospital maintenance worker who was reportedly found dead at the bottom of an elevator shaft. His body was ruled an accident. His death, not his body. His death was ruled an accident, although local legends insist something more suspicious may have happened. Today, the building is still functioning as a hotel, but according to many visitors, not every person wandering its halls is a paying guest. Now, if we head over to Sedona, we can talk about the energy vortex. Surrounded by towering red rock formations, Sedona has become one of America's best-known spiritual destinations. Its strange reputation centers on locations known as energy vortexes. Believers describe vortexes as places where energy rises from the center of the earth, creating an environment that may encourage healing, meditation, emotional clarity, or spiritual experiences. Some visitors report feeling tingling sensations, sudden changes in mood, intense calm, or a powerful sense that the landscape is somehow alive. Others claim to have experienced visions, emotional releases, or unexplained physical sensations while standing near certain rock formations. Popular vortex locations include Bell Rock, Cathedral Rock, Airport, Mesa, and Boynton Canyon. Sedona's vortex culture expanded significantly during the 20th century, eventually transforming the city into an international destination for meditation, spiritual retreats, psychics, and paranormal tourism. Scientists have not found evidence that these locations produce measurable supernatural energy. But whether the feeling comes from the geology, expectation, the dramatic landscape, or something genuinely unexplained, thousands continue visiting Sedona hoping to feel it for themselves. Another point of interest is the Mogollon Rim, or the Mogollon Monster, and I do apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Stretching across central and eastern Arizona, the Mogollon Rim is covered in steep cliffs, deep ravines, and dense pine forests. It is also reportedly home to Arizona's most famous cryptid, the Mogollon Monster. Sounds a little bit like Bigfoot to me. And it's often described as Arizona's version of Bigfoot. The creature is said to be tall, muscular, and covered in dark or reddish-brown hair. Witnesses frequently describe an overpowering odor, glowing or reflective eyes, enormous footprints, and screams that resemble a person in distress. Campers have also reported hearing rocks thrown from the darkness, branches snapping around isolated campsites, and whistles of animals calling that appear to mimic nearby wildlife. One early account appears in an Arizona newspaper in 1903 and describes a hairy human-like figure encountered near the Grand Canyon. Reports continue throughout the 20th century and remain part of the region's folklore today. Skeptics suggest the sightings can involve black bears, other wildlife, hoaxes, or frightened witnesses misinterpreting movement in the darkness. But for people who believe the stories, the rim may conceal something far larger than any ordinary bear. Now, on the night of March 13th, 1997, people across Arizona began looking toward the sky. Witnesses reported formations of lights traveling southward across the state, with sightings stretching from the Nevada border through the Phoenix area and towards Tucson. Some described separate lights flying in formation. Others said the lights appeared to be attached to one enormous dark V-shaped object that moved silently overhead. That's a massive object. Later that night, another group of lights appeared to hover over the Phoenix area before slowly disappearing. The military eventually explained that the later lights were illumination flares released during a training exercise. That explanation accounts for some of the footage recorded that evening, but witnesses to the earlier formation insisted they saw something entirely different, an enormous structured object moving silently across the sky long before the flares appeared. Because the night may have involved two separate events, the explanation has never satisfied anyone who witnessed it. Decades later, the Phoenix Lights remains one of the largest and most widely discussed UFO sightings in American history. Now, down in Tombstone, a former theater, saloon, gambling hall, and brothel still stands near the corner of 6th and Allen Street. The Birdcage Theater opened in 1881 and quickly became one of the wildest establishments in an already lawless town. Drinking, gambling, prostitution, and live entertainment continued around the clock. Sounds tiring. Violence was common enough that bullet holes can still be seen in the building today. After closing in 1889, the theater remained largely sealed for decades, preserving furniture, gambling tables, stage equipment, and reminders of Tombstone's violent past. Visitors now report hearing music, laughter, conversations, and the sounds of people moving inside of rooms that are nearly empty or appear empty. Some claim to have seen shadow figures near the stage or apparitions dressed in 19th century clothing. Others report unexplained touches, sudden cold spots, or the smell of cigar smoke when nobody is nearby smoking. Whether these experiences are spirits from the theater's violent years or simply the atmosphere of a remarkably preserved Wild West building, the Birdcage has become one of Tombstone's most famous haunted locations. From treasure hunters disappearing in the Superstition Mountains to unexplained lights crossing the sky above Phoenix, Arizona's legends are as varied as its landscape. Its deserts conceal lost fortunes, its forests may hide enormous creatures, its abandoned mining towns remember the people who lived and died there. And in Sedona, visitors still gather among the red rock, searching for the energy they cannot always explain. Some of these stories may be history transformed into folklore. Others may have perfectly ordinary explanations. But in a state containing so much empty land, ancient geology, and isolated wilderness, it's easy to believe Arizona may still have some hidden secrets. This has been State to State, America's Strangest Legends. Up next, Arkansas. Until next time, keep it creepy.